Hey guys, Sky here. Mortal Kombat is tiring. Let's get one thing out of the way. Mortal Kombat 2 is not good. That is not to be confused with Mortal Kombat 2, a game that is very good, or with the upcoming sequel to Mortal 1 Kombat. I really don't want this to just turn out looking like a blind hate piece, because I promise, I saw the good in this movie. I'm a lifelong Mortal Kombat fan, and I went to see this with two friends who are also lifelong Mortal Kombat fans. And the three of us, well, we had a fucking blast, to be honest, but for the wrong reasons. We were losing it. The film is so unbelievably absurd. It's like they took a hatful of Mortal Kombat plot points, grabbed a handful, and decided that's what the story had to be. Yeah, Mortal Kombat is supposed to be goofy and funny, but we weren't laughing at the jokes. Okay, we laughed at some of the jokes, but we shouldn't be laughing at the emotional climax of the movie. I shouldn't be laughing at every single line out of Cole Young's mouth. More on that later. And I definitely shouldn't be laughing at Noob Saibot, the fucking Grim Reaper of Mortal Kombat. Listen, I get it. This movie has a lot of cool ideas, but it's literally nothing we haven't seen before. It seems that Mortal Kombat adaptations are stuck in homogenous hell. Yes, we've all been stuck in remake culture for a while now, but I think Mortal Kombat is a particularly interesting microcosm of this. Since 2011, the point many would argue was the revival of the franchise, we've been reheating Midway's nachos. It's got to the point where we couldn't reheat the original trilogy anymore, so we had to move on to the actually interesting games and bastardize those next. I'm being way too dramatic, but you see my point, no? Okay, well, MK9 acting as this big revival was fittingly a retelling of the original trilogy, so it gets somewhat of a pass. It was kind of the first one to do it. Then there's MKX, the most original story NetherRealm ever did, and yet it was still kind of a rehash of MK4. Then they definitively lost the plot with MK11 by somehow rehashing the last two stories, bringing back the MK9 cast, effectively removing character development as a factor, and also removing anything actually interesting they'd set up as a factor as well. M1K did try to do something new, but at this point we all know how that went. Okay, let's take a look at what other Mortal Kombat stuff has come out since then. We have Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge, an adaptation of MK1. Mortal Kombat 2021, an adaptation of MK1, kinda. Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms, an adaptation of MK2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Mortal Kombat 2, which is an adaptation of Mortal Kombat 2, kind of. And finally, MK Legends Snowblind and Cage Match, which are actually original stories. Huh, would you look at that? Are you seeing my point though? Mortal Kombat can't even attempt a new story anymore without chickening out and relying on nostalgia at the 11th hour. As more projects come out, it's become increasingly evident that WB is almost definitely embarrassed of Mortal Kombat. First, the 90s films garner a pretty bad reputation, despite the first one being by far the most faithful MK adaptation to date, partially because of how early it was. Then they overcorrect by forgetting to hire a lighting department for the first remake, among many other decisions like making an OC the protagonist because you wanted the main character to be Asian, despite the actual fucking protagonist of Mortal Kombat being a Chinese Shaolin monk. No, in reality, Liu Kang is replaced as the protagonist in almost every adaptation, because for whatever reason, WB finds it unimaginable that a stoic pacifist monk who basically fits the Superman archetype would be interesting. And we all know WB has a fantastic reputation when it comes to Superman. No, but seriously, Mortal Kombat desperately needs the Superman 2025 treatment. I mean, an adaptation that is unabashed in its love for the lore, its care for the story and characters. Now, many of you are yelling in the comments, but Sky, MK2 was full of love for the characters and story and lore, and to that, I suggest you go watch Pedro Pascal's body double and Grogu. Isn't it amazing that they got the actual Grogu on set? MK2 is a classic example of overcorrecting. The first movie treated the game's lore as unpresentable to the mainstream, so they dumbed it down and pissed off actual fans. The sequel then completely abandons any pretense of easing in the audience and just throws Mortal Kombat glub shadows at screen. At screen? And that's far from the only example in this one. Scorpion takes up too much of the plot in the first? Make him a cameo! Powers came from the Arcana in the last movie, but now, no they didn't. Cole Young is the protagonist? No, he's not! WB doesn't even give time for their industry plant ideas to breathe, let alone the audience. I cannot imagine someone who doesn't know MK lore getting this movie at all. And yet, I feel so bad for newcomers to this franchise because where the hell do you start? Well, I asked those same friends I mentioned earlier, and let's see what they had to say.
When it comes to like going into Mortal Kombat, because right now, or like with Mortal Kombat 9, the 2011, you can't really buy it anywhere. Like you would have to have
MK9's fucking delisted.
Yeah, it's delisted like in like all online stores. And you would pretty much have to buy like a PS3 or Xbox or whatever to pretty much get a disc copy.
Or you could just like pirate it.
Or pirate it. Yeah, I mean, that's like, I mean, yeah, of course everyone can. I don't know about 11. You know,
Yeah.
Because 11 is for sure like kind of all over the place with timeline too, and they kind of introduce like a multiverse and like, you know, it's kind of all over the place. But I would say MK9, but the thing is like it's unlisted, you can't really buy it anywhere. I'd say MKX.
Yeah,
for sure. And the first 1995 movie.
Yeah, 1995 movie is definitely like the place to start, I would say, for Mortal Kombat exposure. Start there, be confused by everything and how bad that movie was. But like it's gonna be a start, period. And then you jump in like MK9 that poorly tells the events of the first 3 games.
But you can't buy MK9.
Yeah.
I know, which is so. But you can pirate it though.
Ed Boon tweeted the other day. What would you rather?
Makes a lot of tweets.
Oh,
the remake of
would you rather
MK9
have-
or Shaolin.
Shaolin monks or MK9?
I picked Shaolin monks,
honestly think Shaolin.
but
I
not
picked
for.
MK9, unfortunately, just because I want to buy it. Listen,
That's fair. That's completely
okay,
fair.
that's fair.
I did play a bit of 9 when oh my gosh, my glorious PS Now was still a thing. Yeah, I know, back in the day. And I love 9. It was great.
Inputs.
You can't start with any of the new movies. MK1 does not fucking cover anything in the beginning. Like it's just really bad. Period. MK2 was even worse. It's so bad. Yeah, 1995 movie, and then MK9, and then you can play X, I guess, and then sit and suffer through 11. Because that's like the closest you're gonna get to a semblance of the story without actually going back and playing the fucking arcade boxes.
It's like WB doesn't trust a Mortal Kombat project to work if it doesn't include aspects from at least 4 games with no foresight as to how that might affect future entries in that series. For example, the people behind MK 2021 probably had no reason to believe they'd get a sequel, especially at the height of the streaming era, so of course they'd blow their load on iconography and hype moments. Melina's here because she's one of the most popular characters. Shinnok's amulet was important to the new game story, so hey, there's an excuse for an amulet of Shinnok prop. Goro has a legendary reputation as one of the hardest bosses in gaming? Well shit, he's gotta be the final battle then. And of course you can't forget the epic fatalities. No, what do you mean character deaths matter? Haven't you heard of Revenants?
She's trapped, Cassandra Cage.
I'ma tell you that you're not my competition. I'ma always win. Throw me in and I'm going in. I ain't running. I'ma come and tell you anyone can get to talk about it cause I really live it. All the nights on the mission, no fear, no hope in my vision. Don't need no intervention. You ain't down the ride, there ain't even no words to come out, putting them out and they all gonna be missing. Wonder why I'm still here cause I'm doing on the daily. Act a fool if you met me. You try to be brave and step up, but your crew is too scary. Cause I'm too legendary. It's what we go hard for. I'm rocking your block. You want to you get knocked off. I'm taking your place.
I'll be the first to say the Revenants were a great idea. The initial twist MK9 was going with, forcing Raiden to build a new cast of heroes to fight the old generation, was really quite interesting, and they looked fucking awesome. But like every other modern MK concept, they were quickly shoved to the wayside for nostalgia bait. The MKX post-credit scene had us all thinking for years that the villains of MK11 would be a Dark Raiden and Liu Kang. But no, making either one of them the final boss would have been too cool and interesting for us. Let's introduce the Lore Breaker. But no, seriously. Earlier I said that the modern MK live-action movies were kinda an adaptation of the first 2 games, but they're not. I mean, the first film is a whole training arc, and there's not really a plot. The second movie, however... Okay, spoilers and all that, but do you remember this scene? Possibly the coolest thing MK11 did. Giving Kitana some sort of catharsis over Shao Kahn after all these years was and still is an awesome idea. This movie, however, attempts that moment. I actually commend the filmmakers for trying to make an MK movie where Kitana is the emotional core and the actual main character, and try they did. It doesn't help that they marketed Johnny as the main character and marketed Carl Urban as the main actor, and I can't even tell you the name of Kitana's actress. Thank you, MK marketing team. Starting with little Kitana witnessing her father's death at the hands of Shao Kahn and ending with her killing him in the same place is cool, but once again, they didn't commit to the parts of Kitana's character that make this moment in MK11 so powerful. The only reason this moment stands out in the confusing sea that is MK11 is because these versions of the characters were, at the very least, built upon versions of the characters we know, that actually have that history and that build-up. Not implied, I mean, you can go see it, it's literally in the text, it's right here. It's not just that, and this has been really bothering me, so hear me out. Kitana and all the Edenians are upwards of 10,000 years old. They're kind of supposed to be like elves, which carries a lot of influence in their characterization. This movie, however, implies that Kitana is maybe 30? She states it's been 20 years since Jade was assigned as her protector, and Shao says he remembers when they pulled Jade from the fighting pits, or whatever. He says that she was more animal than child, which I think is a fucking cool line for Shao to say, but the implication here seems to be that Kitana has the lifespan of a human, that Jade was pulled out and trained and assigned to Kitana under Shao Kahn's rule. It is 20 years? The implication here seems to be that Kitana has the lifespan of a human, or at least like she's acting like a young one, which honestly carries over greatly in her performance. And you might argue that this take works better for a story where you want her to take revenge on Shao within the span of one film, and sure, I guess, but you sacrifice so much depth by speedrunning these things. Now, in this timeline, they've effectively removed any chance of exploring Kitana's relationship with Melina, her relationship with Sindel, because the goal of the movie is going to be getting her back, so we're gonna have fight scenes instead of exploring what it was like. The 10,000 years isn't an arbitrary number, it's 10,000 years of indoctrination. Yes, in some versions of the story, Kitana is aware the entire time that Shao killed her father, but in most more modern stories, she's not aware. That's what makes Melina such an effective character, but no, we wasted her in the first movie because Melina needed to be there for iconography's sake. We didn't think we'd get a sequel. You know, I didn't realize I had that much to say about Kitana, of all characters. And that's just one character. Do you have any idea how much lore MK characters have? Look at Meet's Wikipedia page. But anyway, since I got to rant about Kitana for so long, let's hear what the homies had to say about some of their favorite characters.
Yeah, they ruined all the characters. They ruined Jax. Jax was just JPEG Mafia on testosterone, on steroids. Like, every time he was on screen, I just heard "Damn Peggy." And then they killed him off really poorly. Like, they made Jax fight Shao Kahn, and that was the sickest scene he was in, because otherwise he was really shit in this movie.
Yeah, okay, you know what? I think there was a lot to say with Raiden's character. But also, to be fair, I can't like really recall from like the newer movies. So I don't remember if he was in the first one at all. He was? Shit.
He was standing there in the back and he'd bully the characters.
Okay, well that's how bad the first one was then, I guess. Shit. Yeah, no, I mean it's honestly crazy the amount of money that this movie is making is insane. And the fact that also the newest movie convinced me to rebuy Mortal Kombat. It was something else.
No, because a lot of people are saying Raiden was good in this one.
I completely disagree with that. There's a scene where it's Raiden, it's Sonya, it's I know, I'm pretty sure it's just them with Johnny Cage in that parking garage. I mean, yeah. I just didn't like his voice lines in it, and it's just doesn't sound like Raiden.
Raiden's a white man who's 7'4", and he's just the fucking goat. He's strong as shit. He beats the fuck out of everybody. And they simply made him 5'2" crippling old.
Exactly.
Dude, they massacred my boy Baraka, man. I'm so sad about that. I was so pissed when I saw that he was like a
17-year-old idiotic, fucking impressionable black teen.
They simply ruined my boy. He's supposed to be like a 45-year-old badass who leads the fucking Tarkatans into just the sickest of battles. But no, because
Johnny Cage just
comes in and just
rage baits him into fight.
And then he tells him war stories, and then
it's like
they massacred my boy.
Sister, like, runs to go get him.
Yeah, he like whispers in his ear,
"The white man is here."
And Baraka's like,
"What do you want, white man?"
But it's just Johnny Cage calling him a bitch. That's it, for no reason. Yeah, nah, man. This movie pissed me the fuck off. Because, Jesus, they did nothing right. Especially Baraka. The fit was whack. The Tarkat makeup was whack as shit. Oh my god, you could see his actual mouth underneath the makeup. It was so bad. Yeah, they made him, instead of just a sick-ass Tarkatan white man, they made him
A light-skinned son of a single mother.
it really just sucked.
Anyway, with the way MK2 ends and the way the plot is moving, MK3 can't really directly adapt to any game. On paper, that sounds like a good thing, right? Finally, an original Mortal Kombat story. But with the way these movies have been going, it's just gonna be a best hits of moments from MKX4, Deadly Alliance, and Deception, if we're lucky. MK11 if we're unlucky. Damn, I spent so much time harping on the new movie, I forgot to talk about the actual black sheep of the Mortal Kombat franchise. No, not you. Yes, you. Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms is like if you fed this video's script to an AI and told it to take all my criticisms as direction and told it to write a Mortal Kombat movie. Scorpion's Revenge didn't do well enough to fund a franchise? Fuck, let's do the Mortal Kombat 2 tournament. Have Raiden giving up his immortality from Deadly Alliance. Also, here's the Cyber Initiative from MK3. Here's Kitana's betrayal. Shinnok's revival from MK Mythologies for some fucking reason. Shao Kahn's entire MK9 playbook, the Kami Dogu from Deception, because the fucking one being. And finally, of course, discount Fire God Liu Kang. Do you see my point? All that sounds absolutely silly, but if you're a Mortal Kombat lore head like me, you know the drama and the gravitas that should come with something like the Deadly Alliance or Shinnok's Amulet. The biggest strength that the original timeline has over any adaptation is how long it went. The stories and characters had time to breathe, and while yes, these stories and characters did boil down to arcade endings and bios and other stuff like that, god damn it, that's just how fighting games are. That shouldn't devalue these stories. However, WB has yet to find that the later, more interesting stories and character work in the Mortal Kombat timeline only works because it's later. Because it's built on existing character work and world building. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I just want a Mortal Kombat adaptation that really tries to take its source material seriously. It doesn't have to be super dark and gritty, it doesn't have to appeal to the biggest audience. All it's gotta do is be confident enough in its own lore to say the name Noob Saibot.
Bihan.
Thanks for watching and all that, but wow, thank you so much for the overwhelming support on the last video. I know I promised I was going to do Invincible next and talk about Conquest, and I'm still gonna do that video, I'm still writing that video. But I'm getting like super crazy imposter syndrome writing that video because I haven't read the Invincible comics. So that's what I'm doing. I've been reading the Invincible comics and I want to get to at least the Conquest fight, or like a little bit past that. So I feel like I have any amount of authority over what I'm talking about. This is random to talk about in a Mortal Kombat video. Who do you want as a guest character in Mortal Kombat? I want Denji from Chainsaw Man, because he wouldn't work in any other fighting game. Conquest would be cool too. Mark, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just rambling at this point. You made it this far. Here's your Toby. I'm recording this on Toby's birthday, so comment "Happy Birthday, Toby," or you'll be cursed for 30 years. And make sure to like and subscribe, because I find that when I say that, things actually happen. Thank you so much for the support on the last video, and I will see you in the next one, where hopefully I'm talking about Conquest. Oh, also I have another Star Wars video in the works. All right, see ya. Peace.
Crazy enough, I didn't watch Annihilation.
You didn't watch Annihilation?
Because everyone was saying how bad that one was.
Guys, we should do videos where we react to the 90s movies.
That'd be crazy.